welcome back for another 50 States of Food and Cooking video. This is a collaborative effort I'm doing with Heather from the Pixel Gamer Girl channel, where we are slowly cooking our way through all 50 of the United States. Today's stop finds us in the Palmetto State of South Carolina. It became the 8th state admitted into the Union on May 23rd, 1788. And the dish we're going to be making today is a chicken bog. The ingredients I'm going to be using are half of a whole chicken. In here I have 3 stalks of roughly chopped celery, 1 roughly chopped medium onion, and 3 cloves of roughly chopped garlic. I'll also be using 4 cups of chicken stock, 1½ cups of white rice, and 1 pound of smoked sausage. For our seasonings, I've got some salt, black pepper, paprika, thyme, and a bay leaf. I've also got a very generous ½ teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and you'll also need 1/4 cup of butter. Now I am only making half of the recipe, so the full recipe amount for the ingredients will be listed down in the description. So let's go ahead and get moved over to the stove. We can start bringing our dish together. Here at the stove, I've gone ahead and added my chicken in, and I'm going to go ahead and cover it with my chicken stock, the garlic, the celery and the onions. Then I'm also going to drop in my bay leaf and all of my seasonings. You do want to make sure that the chicken is fully submerged into the broth, so I am going to add another ½ of a cup, and I think I'm going to add just a little bit of water to this as well. I'm sorry, I said ½ of a cup. I meant 2 cups of additional chicken broth, and then I'll add in 2 more cups of water, and I think that'll be okay. Alright, I think we've got plenty of liquid in here for the minute. I will keep an eye on it. I am going to bring this up to a boil, then I'm going to cover it and drop it down to a simmer and let it simmer or kind of poach here on the stove for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours, or until the chicken is starting to fall away from the bone. After about 1.5 hours of cooking, the chicken is nice and tender. I've gone ahead and removed it to a plate. I'm going to let it sit there and cool down for about 15 minutes, or until it's cool enough for me to be able to pull the chicken off the bone. I am going to discard all of the skin and the bones. We don't need those anymore. As for the stock, I'm going to go ahead and get it strained out. We're going to be using the stock again, but the solids have already done their job, and they can go ahead and be discarded. In the same pot that I cooked the chicken down in, I've gone ahead and melted my 1/4 of a cup of butter, and I'm going to add in my sausage that I've cut into bite-sized pieces. I'm also adding in the crushed red pepper flakes, and these are going to sit here and saute for about 6 to 10 minutes, or until the sausage is nice and golden brown. Alright, after about 7 minutes, my sausage is starting to brown up nicely, so I'm going to go ahead and add in 6 cups of the reserved chicken stock. I'm going to make sure I deglaze the bottom of my pan, scraping up any of the little brown bits that were left over from the sausage. I'm also going to add in my 1½ cups of rice and all of the chicken that I removed from the bones earlier. All I have left to do now is to allow this to gently simmer covered for about 20 to 25 minutes. It's been about 15 minutes since I added the rice and chicken to the stock. I'm going to come in and give it a nice stir. Make sure nothing is sticking to the bottom, which it is not. Alright guys, I'm going to get this covered back up. I'm going to let it cook for an additional 10 minutes, being sure not to lift the lid for the remaining of the cooking time. And I'm also going to let it sit here covered for another 10 minutes after it's completely done cooking. The recipe did recommend that you add a little bit of hot sauce to the top of this, so that's what I've gone ahead and done. I've used it as a little bit of a garnish, and I did go ahead and throw a little bit of green onion on top just to give it a little bit of freshness. So all we got left to do is to dive in and try it out and see what I think about it. So make sure we get in there and get a little bit of everything. This turned out amazingly well. The rice is super creamy, perfectly cooked. There is so much flavor packed in here from all the spices that I add. The chicken is melt in your mouth tender, and I really like the addition of the smoked sausage. Not an ingredient that I use overly much, so it was nice to use it here. There is some heat from those red pepper flakes, so I think I could probably even stand to go just a little bit more on those, but that's my own personal heat preference. I do like the addition of that hot sauce on top. It kind of helps balance out the whole meal. But overall, I would definitely make this again. But that is going to be it for me for the day. If you have enjoyed this video, leave me a comment down below. If you guys tried this recipe out, let me know how it turned out for you. Remember to check out the 50 States playlist. There will be a link down in the description to it. As always, thank you all so very much for joining me today. I'm the Vault Girl. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.